It is finally happening as the Winnipeg Jets have made a major move surrounding one of their big defensive prospects in Ville Heinola. We're going to break down the move they made and discuss some other updates ahead of tonight's big matchup against the Minnesota Wild. But before we get into it all, we are proud to announce that this video is brought to you by Rentals.ca, who are proud supporters of Team Canada. And while they've been supporting our national team defend their home court in international competition, they've also been helping thousands of Canadians find their home floor all across the country. And it doesn't matter what city you are in, whether you're in Toronto, whether you're in Vancouver, Montreal, Calgary, Halifax, it does not matter. Winnipeg, Mississauga, Edmonton, Victoria, St. John's, it doesn't matter where you are from coast to coast. Rentals.ca has a ton of options to find the perfect place and price for you.
Their website is clean and easy to use, and you can pinpoint exactly on the map where you want to move, finding all the options in your area. Find your home court with Rentals.ca.
Yeah, check out the website in the pinned comment or the description down below. And shout out to Rentals.ca for supporting our channel, supporting Team Canada, and supporting you guys for finding the best rentals across the country. So thank you guys again. And thank you to Rentals.ca for sponsoring this video. A lot to go over today, and it's the much anticipated day and his debut of Ville Heinola. Of course, he's played a couple years ago, and he's had some brief stints in the NHL, but it is in light of Dylan Samberg going out. They made a bunch of different roster moves, but let's start here. Does Ville Heinola get his first start with the Jets since January 19th in 2023? And if so, who does he get paired with? Questions will be answered, and they were answered. So you can see this here according to Mike McIntyre. It will be Ville Heinola paired alongside Colin Miller in tonight's game, which means he will make his season debut for the Jets, and it will be his first NHL regular season game since January 19th, 2023, so almost 2 years ago. Almost 2 years ago, sorry. As well as Logan Stanley, he's on the ice in a yellow non-contact uniform. So, Darius, what are your thoughts on this? We'll get into the lines in a minute. We have some other updates, but Ville Heinola is set to make his much-anticipated debut for the Winnipeg Jets this season and his first start in almost 2 full years.
Yeah, we'll get into Logan Stanley and the lines in a second because it's pretty interesting. But Ville Heinola is coming back into the lineup for the Winnipeg Jets. It's been a while since he's been a Winnipeg Jet, obviously putting in work with the Manitoba Moose. But this is a feel-good story, not just for fans, but I think the player himself, because he's dealt with a lot of injury problems over the last couple of years and obviously last season as well. So he's finally going to get a chance here. And I think the Jets are in a very interesting spot here, especially going up against a pretty interesting schedule the next little while, and we'll get to that later in the video as well, and especially tonight in a good team against the Minnesota Wild. But he has an opportunity here to kind of showcase his abilities and what he has right now, because they're probably going to have to go out and make a trade for a defenseman even when Dylan Samberg comes back. Obviously, Logan Stanley looks like he's making his way back shortly as well. I think they're going to have to go out and make a trade for another defenseman, even with those guys healthy. So I think he has a real chance to come in here, show them what he has, show them that he can play physical as well, and possibly play playoff games for this team. And if he does that, maybe they don't have to make a trade. Maybe this is the player. We haven't seen it yet, but I think he has a great opportunity here to make a great impression on the fan base, more so than he already has, because fans are clamoring for this guy to get into the lineup, and he is tonight. So it's going to be a must-watch game. The Jets are playing well, and I think that there's a lot on the line here for not just the player, but the Jets. If the Jets find that, he can play to a high caliber of hockey and match the team's intensity, then they won't go out and make a trade. But we haven't seen it yet. So I'm excited to see what he's able to do for the Winnipeg Jets.
Yeah, and again, his debut has been much anticipated, and hopefully, and he paired alongside Colin Miller, which is an interesting lineup, and we can dive into them here. So the Jets' projected lines and defensive pairs: Connor Scheifele, Velarde, Perfetti, Domestikov, Ehlers, Niederreiter, Larry Appleton, Morgan Barron, Capari, and Alex Iafallo. So the same as usual for the forward group. But the defensive group is where things get interesting. So Morrissey, DeMello, the same there. And then you have Hayden Fleury and Neil Pionk manning the second line. And then you have Ville Heinola and Colin Miller with Connor Hellebuck factoring in tonight. So you have Hayden Fleury and Neil Pionk second pairing is a very interesting one, and one that I'm very intrigued to see tonight, how that actually works out. And then you have Ville Heinola alongside Colin Miller. So I want to get your thoughts on this. I know some fans are a little bit, not necessarily confused, but uneasy about this defensive pair. I'm not exactly sure how a Hayden Fleury and Neil Pionk second line or second pairing, is going to work out. I don't have super high hopes for it, although Neil Pionk has been phenomenal this season. It's it just goes to show that Dylan Samberg going out was a massive hit to them, but Hayden Fleury survives, at least for now, and he moves up, actually, to the second pairing.
Moves up to the second pairing, and I think the only reason he is on the second pairing right now is because Heinola obviously just came back from the conditioning stint, hasn't really played, so I feel like they're going to ease him in there with, less ice time tonight, just see what he has. But I think there's an opportunity for him to move up, right? And in this game, we see it all the time in games across the NHL. Different teams, players can work their way up throughout the game, especially coming back from injury, just based on, how they're playing the game and how they're feeling. So I think there's a real opportunity for him to move up. Again, a Hayden Fleury, Neil Pionk pairing, feel like that's going to be a little bit of chaos. The left side's a little weak right now with some, and this is why I've been talking about a potential trade. Maybe Marcus Pettersson, right? We've talked about it a lot. It doesn't have to be him, but maybe another trade, because you have an injury or two and your left side is looking very weak. And it's not that I'm calling, Heinola weak or even Hayden Fleury weak, but that's not great right now. It's not ideal for the Winnipeg Jets. So they're going to ride it out. I think there's going to be a bit of chaos tonight, but I think that's okay. It's going to be some growing pains, some adversity for the team to face for the first time this season, I think, right? In a way, because they've been rolling so much and obviously lost a couple games here and there, but they've been rolling. So I think this is a good thing for the team as well to kind of rally around that. So it's going to be fun to watch. Heinola, again, I think he's going to be able to work his way up. We'll see what he has, but I think there's some interesting line decisions going on here, that's for sure. But Colin Miller and Heinola, I don't hate that, just to ease him into the game at first.
Yeah, let us know down below what your thoughts are on these lines as well. Very intriguing. And yeah, I think having Heinola on the third pairing is probably the least pressure. At the same time, it would have been interesting to see him alongside Pionk or something like that, with Hayden Fleury and Colin Miller staying together like they have been the past handful of games in Logan Stanley's absence. And it also begs the question, once Logan Stanley comes up, do they go with a Logan Stanley, Colin Miller pairing, and then they move Heinola up to the second pairing? I think it all starts with tonight's game and kind of just seeing how things go. And they're coming off of a brutal loss against the Nashville Predators, where, again, they were on the second night of a back-to-back, but they didn't look like themselves. They were playing very sloppy. They need to bounce back tonight, and they have their 1A goalie in Connor Hellebuck after a pretty rough game by Eric Comrie. But I want to go ahead and highlight this a bit of a wild close call here. Close call just ahead of the Jets' morning skate. Niederreiter and Perfetti working as shooters for Eric Comrie. Niederreiter's wrist shot went off the crossbar and up into the face of Perfetti. He was down briefly, but he seems okay, didn't leave the ice. And obviously a scary moment for everybody involved, but I mean, the injury bug, it can hit you fast as an NHL team. And luckily, it seems like Perfetti's going to be okay, and he's going to play, tonight on the second line. All signs are pointing to that. So do you have any quick thoughts on this? It's when it rains, it pours, I guess, for injuries here. And the Jets seemingly dodged a very, very close one, which is lucky for them, because Cole Perfetti hasn't looked great, quite frankly, over the past handful of games, but Nino Niederreiter has, and of course Perfetti will get back to the form, I think, in due time.
It's not so much the injury scare that caught my eye about this tweet and what happened this morning that is the most interesting thing to me. It's that Niederreiter and Cole Perfetti were out there before morning skate working on stuff, and obviously that's when that happened. And like you said, Cole Perfetti hasn't been great as of late. He's kind of taken a step back, and some other guys are pushing the team forward and putting the team on their back, for lack of a better term. But I like that Cole Perfetti was out there before morning skate kind of working on things. It shows dedication, right, that he wants to get back to playing well in his game. So that's kind of what I took out of this. Obviously, injury scares happen all the time, and that would have been a disaster for the Jets. But I took the fact that he was on the ice with Niederreiter kind of working on things as a good thing. He wants to get back to playing his game, and the Jets are going to be that much better for that. So I think that's a cool thing from Cole Perfetti.
Yeah, definitely. One final thing before we wrap up. Logan Stanley, like I mentioned in the intro, is on the ice in a non-contact jersey, a step forward after he joined the morning skate in Pittsburgh after the formal part was done. And as you look ahead to the schedule, it's going to be very interesting. They play the Minnesota Wild, then they play the Los Angeles Kings, and then, of course, the Vegas Golden Knights. So a couple of games. They play 3 games in the next handful of nights. So a very, very busy schedule for them, 3 games in 5 days. And hopefully with Logan Stanley return probably on Wednesday, maybe Friday, things are going to get very busy very fast in the Winnipeg Jets. We'll keep you up to date with all the latest news, so make sure to hit that subscribe button and let us know down below what your thoughts are on all this. I'll see you guys later.